Positive energy and good vibrations from me to you. You have now tuned in to the Imperfect Fathers podcast. As always, man, positive energy, good vibrations from me to you. It's your boy, RJD, the Imperfect Gentleman, and
JP, the Imperfect Husband.
And this is another dope episode of the Imperfect Fathers podcast. What's good people? I hope everybody's having a phenomenal day, week, year, life experience here on this earth, because if you're not living up to your full potential, man. What's good with you, my brother? How you been this week?
Brother, it's been a long week.
Man, that's the word for this week, bro. It's been a long one.
It's been a long week.
Almost to the point where the days are blending in with each other, bro. Like almost like I don't know when days have ended and what days have begun.
Bro, adulting.
That word right there, it got a meaning of its own. Adulting.
Shit. Once life starts lifing.
With them pause, with them pause that life got. I'm telling you, I don't even know if like we've seen a boxer with better hands than life. I don't know if Roy Jones, Floyd Mayweather, like nah. There's nobody got hands like life, bro. Because like life will tap you.
Yes, it would.
Tap that chin.
Yes, it would.
But in order to diffuse life tapping that chin, you got to do what we do on a regular basis, and that's talk to the Father.
Let's do that.
So let's defend ourselves against the ways of the enemy and the ways of life, and make sure we tap in with the Father upstairs. So with that being said, gracious and eternal Father, we thank you for another opportunity just to be sitting in these chairs and talking behind these microphones. For we just said our week would have been long, and we understand that everything we've been through is making us and building us into the men that we are supposed to be. So God, we don't complain. We are grateful for those things, and even the things that we don't understand, we are grateful for those things as well. Right now, Father, we ask you to look over us as we go across these airways, that we may say something to be a benefit and a blessing to someone else that's listening to us right now. And we ask you to continue to be the God of their lives as well. And these things we do pray in Jesus' name. Amen.
Amen.
Yes, indeed, man. So, what you got on your biscuit, bro? What you got on your... I'm digging the hat, man. I want to give a shout out, man, because I know where that comes from, but I want to put it out there, man. That's not your average. Yeah. That's created by the kid himself, man.
Yeah, man. Little
shout out.
Collaboration I did with my boy Keena Reyes. This is the JP and Co meets Keena Reyes, the Ugly Bear.
The Ugly Bear. Shout out to the Ugly Bear, man. I got to get one of them joints. I'm digging the hat. Yeah. I'm digging the hat, man. Word up. Shout out to your man, for the collabs is dope. This is what this is, man. Like, it's always better to collab than compete, bro.
Yes, sir.
You understand? Like, so many more promising things and so many more dope things come out of collabs rather than competing. So shout out to you, man. Shout out to us. Shout out to anybody out there that's putting the work into collab to make anything, man, because as we know, putting in the work is not easy, y'all. Like, if we can be transparent in this moment, like, the energy for this podcast wasn't even here earlier. Like, this is work. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm not even gonna sit here and sit on this camera right now and this mic and pretend like
create a whole vibe. Nothing.
Yo, because we was sitting here just a few minutes ago watching the shout out to Dallas and the Minnesota game, and we was watching the game and we were just like, man, dragging energy. He had work he had to get done. I had work I had to get done. We were just sitting here and was like, are we really going to do this tonight? You know what I'm saying? But at the end of it all, it's like, this is not, we're not just doing this for the sake of doing it. You know what I'm saying? There's reason and the purpose behind it. So whenever we get down or the energy gets low, we think about the purpose, and the purpose is you guys out there. So with that being said, do us a favor, hit that like, hit that subscribe button, because it's our digital currency. It helps us with the algorithm. It helps us move forward with this platform, and it does us a great justice for other individuals who do not know we exist. So we appreciate you. Hit that like, comment, and subscribe button, man.
Yes, sir. Tap that bell. Bing.
You know what I mean? So
I had a little question, I wanted to bring up and see what our listeners think and comment down below.
You got a question for the people? You got a
see what you got to say too on this one, because I've been thinking on it, because it has, sometimes we believe that we're patient because of the way that we interact with people on the outside, with just a common regular person.
Right.
And is that really patience? Is that really patience? Because is that patience, or is the patience determined on how you react with the people that you deal with on a regular basis, on an everyday basis, like your kids, your mother, your wife?
Yeah.
Is that how you determine patience? Or is it or do you determine patience by how you deal with people from the outside? Because people on the outside, you're always going to have patience with, because you don't know them, right?
I don't think you can measure patience by people you don't know.
But you should be able to measure what your patience is like on how you react after you told your child 100 times to go shower.
Oh, yeah. You better believe you gonna. You can't measure your patience on someone who hasn't been vested in your life. You know what I'm saying? Like someone you don't have any kind of vested interest in, because nothing they say or do will hinder you. It'll roll off the back of your skin just haphazardly. Just like, oh well. But someone that you're vested in, someone that you're constantly in contact with, that you care about what they think, feel, and do. Oh yeah, they're the true barometer of your patience.
And will you determine the amount of discipline that you place on the on the amount of patience that you have? So, there's. We have a tendency of believing that we're patient people, right?
I'm gonna go against you. I'm actually praying for it, more of it. Swear, because I know I need it, bro. Without a shadow of a doubt, I know I need patience, and even to the point of, like, we're talking about our kids, but even with myself.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying? Like, I'm turning 40 this year, and society says at 40 you're supposed to be XYZ, and I'm over here catching myself in this helter-skelter, like, oh, I gotta do this, I gotta do that. 40's coming, I'm not ready for 40. But in no actuality, what am I ready for 40? You know what I'm saying? Like,
and you gotta be careful when you take on that state of mind, right?
Yes.
Because you believing that you should be in a specific place by a specific time can send you into a dark place.
Yeah.
When you don't achieve that. Right?
Correct.
So there's a lot of caution that needs to come behind that.
Yeah, because you trying to play God at that point.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like, you really
There's only one.
Literally. You can't sit here and say I'm supposed to be there, because who are you to say that? Right? Who is anyone to say what someone's supposed to be when they're supposed to be?
I'm not going to say that there's studies out there that show that, but by my experience and by what I've seen and the people that I've interacted with, close people to me, I can tell you that the most dangerous time in life for a man is within the age of 30 and 40, because that's when that's when they've created a staple to say, this is where I need to be by X.
Right.
Right. Because when you're in your 20s, you're like,
you're just living.
I'll do what I got to do when I'm 30. And I'll be able to achieve about 35 and I'll be good.
Yeah. That was the mindset.
Then 30 hits.
Don't.
And you're like, all right, hustle.
Word.
Blink your eyes and then you're 35.
One more blink, you have 40. One more blink.
Where am I?
What happened?
Where am I?
Yo, I told you the OG story.
Nah.
Yo, man, so y'all know me, for y'all who don't know me, I'm a basketball lover. I've been playing my almost my entire life. So, you know, I'm getting my hooping on and I'm going to LA Fitness, and majority of the guys down there know me by now. So
Oh yeah, you did tell me this.
they were like, yo, I come in, I gave everybody dap, you know what I mean, showing love. Then I go in my little corner to get cause you know, older cats, we gotta get warmed up before we get out there. Youthful ones, we could just jump on the court. I'm not that age no more. I gotta stretch and get ready. So I go to my corner and I hear, yo, OG, you running with us? So I'm not paying attention because in my head, they're not talking to me. They're not talking to me. Hey, yo, OG, we running next. We want you to run with us. You running? Still getting my clothes on. Yo, OG, yo, Doc. That's me. Huh? Are you playing or what? I'm the OG. And I said, yeah, I'm gonna run. But then I sat down in the chair. I was like, when did this happen? When did I become the OG? I was just their age. Like, I was just with them. Yeah. And now I'm the OG. Whew. Too many blinks. Yeah, Too many blinks, man. And to the point of that, even with the young ones, we gotta have patience with children that's not even our children, bro.
Oh yeah.
Because the ones that are not ours look up to us even harder than the ones that belong to us. Because like it was a time during the games of basketball we was playing where one of the guys that was on my team was getting frustrated because he wasn't hitting shots he had. He was taking. And I know for a fact it's like, yo, I can't have you frustrated and mad at yourself because you're not gonna play defense. So I had to come to him and tell him, don't get frustrated with yourself. It's only a shot. I need you to keep playing. And that right there told me, it was like, we got to have patience for the young ones because they don't have it.
Yeah.
They don't have it for themselves. And that's why it's important for us to heal and make sure that we understand patience is our best friend.
And understand that they're kids.
Facts.
Because we end up holding them to a standard that we believe that we end up holding them to a standard that becomes unachievable for them. And then we become disappointed to a standard that we placed on them. Mm-hmm. And those expectations aren't met. Yeah. And at the end of the day, it's our fault for placing those expectations and those standards on them when we know that they still have work to do. And even if they're capable of achieving them, mentally, they're not there to be able to achieve those.
Shout out to Eric Thomas, man. He said, it took you 30 years to become 30. You couldn't get to 30 any sooner than that.
And you expect your 13-year-old to be 30?
Come on. And like, let's talk about it, bro, because a lot of times we're seeing parents chastising children for not being at a space where, first of all, they're not age appropriate and they haven't been mentally prepared to even be there yet. And this is why I want to talk about this topic this week, is about disciplining children in public and just taking it too far. I'm from the era of where they say where you get it at, where you act up at is where you get it at, and I'm cool with that to a certain extent. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? Because right, I get it, because some things have to be addressed in that moment, right? And even saying that, there's still a proper way to do things.
Yeah, definitely.
I was growing up, and this is not a shot at my mother or anybody else, but this is how I was raised. I was raised where you did it at is where you got it at.
Yeah.
And it wasn't like, oh, we'll pull you to the side. It was more of an complete embarrassment, make a scene, and just cause ruckus, right? And to the point where it's like, I understand when it's about making sure the child understands a lesson. But I've also seen where parents is like, it's not just about that lesson, it's an ego trip. And that, to me, is where I have a problem with.
Yeah.
You understand?
Yeah. Yeah. You know, me thinking back, and when we were having this conversation about this topic, mm-hmm. thinking back as to as far back as I can remember, right? Like, I can't say that my mother ever whooped my ass in public, but hear me out, right? Because it was
Sharon, I'm telling on you.
It was the fear of God was placed so heavy before we walked out the house that we wouldn't dare to, because we were afraid of what would happen. You see, because we would get our asses whooped in the house.
Right.
We would get our ass beat. So we were afraid that would happen in the streets too.
We didn't want that. You didn't want that to transpire.
So we wouldn't. It would be implemented, right? We would leave the house. All right, we're going to XYZ's place. You better not ask for food. You better sit in the corner. You better not move. If you jump too much.
All right.
Now, if we were in church and we started talking, my mother had a little pinch, bro.
Oh.
She had a little pinch, and she'll go under the arm.
Behind the arm.
And pinch you right here.
The tricep muscle.
She'll do that little sound too. Bro. You'll feel that for a week.
I feel it right now. And
for a week.
Shit.
So that's another thing that we were afraid of, right?
Damn. Now, I ain't gonna hold you. Like, the one thing that I can say, like...
All right, hold up. Shout out to all my cousins who know about that pinch.
Yo, Maddie cousin sitting home right now like, shit, TT, shit.
Comment down below.
If you felt that pinch in your life. Yo, but let me tell you, and this is, like I said, I don't want to feel like I'm coming down my mother, but this is something that has to be said. Like, there are times and places for everything. Now, when it comes down to making sure the child understands and all those things, and that's to your point, it was a lot of times where I was like, yeah, I don't want that to happen in the street. But there are, and I'm not giving excuses, but I've seen this even in children these days, especially now boys, they operate off of impulses. You understand what I'm saying? Like, they operate off of instinct. Like, their brain said it, so they did it. Rather than their brain say, let me think this through, let me not do that. It's instantaneous, let me do that.
It's because there's a lack of actual consequences taking place, instant consequence, because that's where it takes place, right? It's you did something, the consequence comes immediately. Right. Now, when a child does something and they don't have consequences to what they're doing, then it's like, oh, I think I could get away with this. Yeah. And that's when it happens. That's when it reoccurs. Correct. Right. So if there's no instant consequence, that's when there's that instinct to just do without thinking about what the consequences could be. Right. And for those instances, I'm all about pulling them to the side. Maybe even take them to the bathroom. You dig what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. Because there are some things that should not be privy to the world. Yeah. And discipline is not something that should be privy for the world to ingest. Yeah. You understand? Especially when it has to be physical with your child. I can understand you having aggressive words with your child in public. Maybe you might even have a scream or two. But when you get to the point where you're... And even that needs to be... monitored. Absolutely. That needs to be monitored. Because once you show your child that you're able to lose your patience like that in public, then you're basically telling them that it's okay to do that in public. Bro, I'm so glad you said that, because it brought me back to remember what I seen just this morning. And I'm gonna shout out to Rick, my guy Rick Party. He's actually a DJ host, a radio personality down here in South Florida. Rick Party. He has a page on Instagram, and this morning one of his posts was of a young lady who was being detained by the police officers. They believe she had stole some sunglasses of some sort out of a high-end, and the little girl was going back and... You better stop right now! Yeah, she's like, if you arrest my mother, I'm gonna punch somebody in the face. And I'm just watching this little girl. I'm like, it's sad because you're only acting out what you've seen. Yeah, and did you hear what she said though? Ma, I know who did it. Yeah. Ma, it was Auntie. And she's only acting out her surroundings. Yeah. And it breaks my heart because that child is only reenacting the scene she's seen and the attitudes in which she's seen people around her portray, even toward the police. Yeah. That little girl's talking about, I'm going to punch somebody in the face and my mother get arrested. You're not even big enough to punch somebody in the kneecap. like, you serious right now? Like, you can't even punch in my hip. Like, more or less my face. Oh, man. Yo, so when my kids were small, whenever we would go to, like, let's say Walmart, and they would catch a hissy fit because they wanted something, we would have crying parties. Shit. Check it out. They'll start crying. Oh, So we're having a cry party. So I'll cry with them while I'm rolling them in the car. And everybody that crosses by, hey, you want to join us? We're having a crying party. You know what happened after the second time?
It's embarrassed.
They never cried again.
They don't want that embarrassment.
They never cried again.
My dad is tripping. I don't know what's wrong with this nigga.
Literally, bro, you see their face change like,
what's with this?
Bro, is he going crazy?
Yo, and my man Eric, shout out to Eric Harris. His one of his favorite lines is, if you crying, what the baby's going to do? Right? He like, if we crying, what the baby's going to do? And in that instant, the baby was like, wait, I can't cry because he's crying. What is?
They were confused. After the second time I did that in Walmart, it was over. No more crying, no more asking for stuff.
And honestly, like it's the nip it in the bud and in a way that's appropriate. You understand what I'm saying? Like, because this is what I'm frustrated about, and this is why this is a topic tonight. Because I went to Publix I think 2 weeks ago, and you know, the child, it was a little boy. He couldn't be no older than 2. He's in pull-up, so you know he's around that age. Mm-hmm. So, number one, he's walking the aisles by himself, which is in my book is
that's crazy.
Then he went to go grab something that he liked, right? He went to go get some, I think it was cookies or something he's like, he saw it, he grabbed it, and when he grabbed it, his mother went off, bro. I'm talking about, she beat this little boy as if though like he stole her money out of her bank account and just like went on a spree. Like she beat this little 2-year-old, and I'm like, I had to stop and watch for a second. And then when she was done, she looked around and it almost like poked her chest out and was like, I don't stand for this. And I realized something in that moment. It wasn't about that baby. It was about your ego.
Yeah.
You need help.
Yeah.
Like, there is no level of discipline in which that should have transpired.
Yeah.
Not even in private.
Yeah, that's crazy.
And then like,
and listen, and they can push us to the point of us freaking going crazy. And it should not, for something that simple. Then again, you know what simplicity to me isn't simplicity to you.
True. But we
need to be adults.
I'm saying at some point.
My mother used to always say whenever I would bicker back at her, for like when she would tell me something and I would bicker back, she would say, "You think I don't beat your ass because I'm scared of you? No, it's because one of us has to be the adult.
Yep.
So I'm gonna move away right now.
Yeah.
And that's the reality.
And bro, like,
you have to be the adult.
And it takes an adult who's understanding like discipline does not have to transpire when you're angry.
You have to pause at that point.
Yo, you have to
pause. Because you will commit a mistake one day. You will commit a grave mistake one day.
You won't be able to take it back.
When you do stuff while you're angry.
And let's talk about what the consequences are. Because like you say, you'll do something that you won't be able to take back. It's not even about taking it back. It's the experience you have now created in your children's life.
Yeah.
Yo, so the other day I wanted to see something because I watched this video on TikTok and they were talking about signs of abuse with children. And he was like, yo, you can tell if a child has been abused simply if you walk past them and just put your hands in the air. I said to myself, really? And the more he explained, he was like, yo, when a child that's been abused sees anyone's hands go up, their first thing to do is look where his hands is going and then to be to move the opposite way. It's a natural reaction. I was like, oh, let me go try this with my kids. You know what I'm saying? Like, I walked past my son and I was just like, Joe. He's like, hey, daddy. I was like, oh, okay, that's cool. Went past my daughter. Like, hey, money. He's like, Daddy, what you get your hands up in the air for? I was like, nothing. And in that moment, I'm like, even if I wanted to come at them and scare them, they wouldn't think that I'm going to hit them. You know what I'm saying? Because that's not how I've raised them. That's not how I've interacted with them. But for a child to think that when somebody raises their hands initially is going to mean physical harm, that's not okay, bro. That's not okay. Because the truth of the matter is, I'm from that. You see what I'm saying? Like, I'm from the era of just getting popped for no reason. Oh, you know what? You probably did something last week that you got away with. Word, like
paybacks.
Yeah, like I'm getting ass up in the layaway.
She had a little black notebook just for the ass whooping. You know what? I
like,
done whooped his ass too much this week. Let me leave one for next week.
Yeah. You know what? And I'll never forget one day I was sitting there a Saturday morning watching wrestling, and she came and popped me. Now,
that's just for something you might do.
She was like, yo, I missed something you did. You slick and you got away with something last week. I was like, yo, I didn't even do nothing. And I'm really thinking in my head, like, what did I do? But let me tell you what that really did.
That's a Junior, though.
My bad, Junior.
I want to see how that plays out. I'm going,
my bad.
That's for whatever you did last week. I don't know what it was.
Yo, but you better chill. You told you last time. Yo, if y'all know what we're talking about, go back a few episodes. My man said he don't know. You better chill out. But yo, it's what you've done too. When you do that, you traumatize that child. You know what I'm saying? Like, you created experience in which you can't retract.
Yeah.
And all because of what? You were angry. Not even, and your anger was probably not even based upon what they did. It was probably just the fact that you felt like they didn't listen to you, right? And that's a lot of time where our anger comes from as parents, is like, they didn't listen to us. But the truth of the matter is, we should be more angry about what could have hurt them. And that's where I find myself stepping back, like, all right, I'm not mad that you didn't listen, but I am mad you did something that potentially could have hurt you.
Yeah.
You see what I'm saying? And potentially down the line.
Wrong, bro. I've caught myself in that.
Yeah.
I've caught myself in that. And after it's done, it's like, fuck, bro.
Right.
Like, what the fuck did I do?
Right.
What the fuck did I do?
Yeah.
And then now it's time to go back and do reparation. Yeah. Right? So why even get to that point? Why even get to that point? Because it's not even about the hitting or anything like that. It's the screaming.
Right.
Because the screaming can do more damage than any.
Psychological is way more aggressive than the physical.
So then it's now going back and having to do some reparation.
To walk it back, explain that.
Let me explain to you what happened. I apologize. I'm sorry I did that.
Word.
It happened because of this, this, and this.
Right.
And X, Y, and Z. Mm-hmm. And it's not your fault.
Right.
You know, because then that you also have to add that in there and let them know that, yeah, you're going to make mistakes. And just because I'm screaming doesn't mean that you need to stop from making mistakes. Right. Because it's the only way that you're going to be able to learn is by you making those mistakes.
Right.
Now, my duty as a parent, as your father, is to help you not make those mistakes. But the way that I reacted was not appropriate.
Right.
It wasn't the way to teach you.
Right.
So it's we're all going through a learning process.
Oh, shit.
None of us are freaking perfect. There was only one perfect being, and it was our Father Almighty.
Hey, and let me tell you, I'm gonna go back into the archives of the mind, because even when you were saying this now, when you just admitted that your space, bro, like, I remember when Josiah was in the walker, he was crying uncontrollably. And I remember Imani was just, she had a runny nose, she had a fever, and I had been sleep deprived for 2 days. I was exhausted, and I was on my third day, but before it was every 3 days I got one night off. Mm-hmm. So I was on my third day, and I was trying to get to that next night. And during that day, he wouldn't stop crying, and she was crying at the same time. And I don't know what it was, he ran into my feet, and I just kicked the walker, bro, and he slid across the room and bounced into the wall and was just looking so scared. And in that moment, my tiredness went away. I became so alert and realized, like, yo, this can't happen. You can't get this mad because you're tired that you're gonna hurt the people that you created. And that's when I began to check myself and my anger level, like, nah, I can't address you right now. And now it's to the point where, bro, if I'm angry, I won't even speak to my children. Because I refuse to do that kind of damage and that kind of harm to them only because I'm mad. Because it's one thing to discipline them based upon what they've done, and it's another thing to discipline them based upon your anger levels. And that's not something I'm willing to practice anymore. Because at the end of the day, it's like, I remember what that felt like.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like being chastised and being disciplined in a space of anger is like, I'm not learning the lesson.
Yeah.
I'm learning fear.
Yeah.
I'm learning how to fear you now. I'm learning how to not to piss you off. Rather than learn from the mistake, rather than learn from what I did and not do no more, I'm now too scared and paranoid to even think about what I did now. Now I just want to get you off my ass.
Yeah. Yeah, I just recently, I believe it was the day before yesterday or Friday. It was a couple of days ago. I asked Junior the hardest question that you can ask your child as a father, whether it's your daughter or son. And the question was, if there was anything of what you've experienced from me that you have said to yourself, I wouldn't do that to my child when I grew up. What is it? And he just stood there and thought. And he said, can I get back to you? So it's one of two things, right? The way I look at it, right? Like I'm afraid to hear the answer.
Of course,
because at the end of the day, for you to be able to make a change in your life, you need to understand what it is that you're doing wrong.
Right.
And me asking him that question, it brings fear, right? Because the last thing you want is for your child to see you in any negative sort of
correct.
eyes. So that pause made me think, well, it's either there's nothing that he would change or he's too afraid
to tell you.
So I'm still waiting on the answer.
And I know that has to be like a nerve-wracking experience.
Oh, yeah.
Because at the end of the day, like, no matter how far they go off in age, it's still your baby boy.
Definitely.
It's still
and I'm afraid to re-ask him.
Yeah.
To say, hey,
did you think about that?
Did you ever think about it? I'm afraid.
Yeah, absolutely.
Truthfully, I'm afraid because
the response.
I'm afraid of what his response is going to be. Now, I hope that the experiences and what his answer isn't something drastic, but whatever answer it is, if there is an answer, it's going to hurt.
Oh yeah.
It's going to hurt.
But the best part about this though is that you're putting yourself in that space to understand him. You see what I'm saying? Because a lot of anything that he can possibly say, yeah, it's gonna hurt, but you'll realize even when he says it's like, but I had to for XYZ reasons. You see what I'm saying? This is why I think for us parents, we have to make sure we do our healing, because there are gonna be times like this where it's like we're gonna be caught in that rock between the rock and the hard place of I had to because you had to learn. You see what I'm saying? Like, because even so much as my daughter, the last couple of months, bro, she's been very, very bossy. I walked into her school and she's giving orders as if though she's a teacher. And I'm just like, all right, I have to do something about this now. And I kept telling her over and over again, watch how you talk to your brother. Watch how you address your mother. To the point where I got tired of speaking to her about it and I had to take something from her. To her, not going to dance class for 2 weeks.
But she wasn't being bossy though. That was her experimenting her entrepreneurial skills.
Are you taking up for her as an uncle right now?
She's probably gonna run our corporation one day.
Yeah, one day, but not today.
I think her and Celine will rock.
We're gonna be in trouble.
You know, it's crazy because I say the same thing also when Celine does her thing.
Yeah.
Right. And my cousin will come and say, calm down. She's just learning how to be an entrepreneur. Leave her alone. So I had to hit you with that a little bit, right?
My turn. So what you doing? You passing it forward? You passing that forward? Okay. I see what you're doing. I'm gonna find somebody to pass that on as well. Nah, I get it. I ain't mad at it. But yo, so now when I think about discipline and the state of mind to be in when we're doing it, it's like I think to myself, you have to be emotionally intelligent as a parent. Like when you're in a highly angry state, you can't even tap into logic. You know what I'm saying? Like, and that's study bound. That's proven. We can't return to logic in an angry state.
Yeah.
So if we can't tap into our logic, how can we even attempt to discipline our children? Yeah. Because to your point earlier, bro, like you can really end up doing something that you can truly regret because you did it out of anger.
And that's usually what happens when you see these parents that end up committing these grave injuries on their children and end up losing their children, or their child passed away, and they have to live with that regret for the rest of their life. So there's no jail that you can put them in.
No.
It's going to be worse than the jail that they've already placed themselves in.
Yes.
Placed themselves in.
No prison cell that can torment them
at all.
Than the one that they're dealing with internally.
At all.
And like the thought of just, because think about this, Jose, when you've been mad in your experience in the street and you've been in fights, it's like when you come back to, you're like, man.
You black out.
Right. You come back to and you're like, yo, and you realize your hands are bleeding. Like, I just hurt someone. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? Like all the thoughts that become to go through your mind once you return back to calm in your original state, you begin to think to yourself, like, that wasn't me.
Yeah. You black out.
And that's the same potential damage and harm that we could be potentially putting on our children.
Yes.
And then let's talk about what we're doing to them about how to deal with conflict, how we're teaching them how to deal with our emotions. Because guess what? If we think that that's how we react with them, when they go to school and somebody pissed them off,
they're gonna do the same thing.
My wife, shout out to my wife, because she tells me this all the time. It's like, I can always tell a parent who's patient with their children to the ones who simply just go off on them as soon as they do something wrong. I can tell just by the way they interact with other children. Something simple as shoelaces. If a kid's shoelaces are untied and one kid steps on it and he goes and falls, he'll get up and punch him in the face. It's like, why'd you punch him in the face? Well, he said to my shoes. It's like, wait a minute. Like, that's a learned behavior. Like, they're hitting you at home. You're seeing instantaneous violence for mistakes. You're not even being allowed to make mistakes, because if someone is doing this to you and instantly you go off on them, that's happening to you. That's happening around you. So now you have a child who doesn't know how to control themselves. It's potentially going to be put in some kind of category in school with some label on them. Why? Because simply the parent has not learned that discipline does not require you being angry.
But it's not always at home. They can learn that behavior at school as well.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
You can teach your child to be patient at home, and they end up being bullied at school and they don't defend themselves and they bottle that in. The day that top pops, they don't stop.
Yeah.
Ever again. So now that becomes a triggered behavior.
Right.
And then in the home, the parent is asking themselves, what happened to my child? Why is he changing? This is not the child. This isn't the kid that I raised. He's been so different. You know what I'm saying?
Absolutely. And like, and when I think about when I was in that space and that age of when, you feel like you can't tell your mom and dad what's going on because you don't want to involve them because you don't want to seem soft at school, but you're really not prepared to deal with what's going on in school. I remember being there, and I also remember just my mother hounding me. Something's wrong with you. And at some point, I'm going to figure it out.
Listen, 5th, 6th, 7th, I'm 8th, not that much, but 5th, 6th, 7th are dangerous years.
Yeah.
That you need to be involved in your child's life.
All the way.
150%.
Facts.
Because they will change from night to day.
Mm-hmm.
And if you are not involved, you won't even notice the change until it's too late.
Right.
Till it's too late.
And to that point, like, that's why it's so important of understanding and going with them through each change of their life. Because I found myself like kind of drifting away because of like, oh, my wife is taking care of this phase of life of school and all that. But I'm like, wait a minute, I can miss something here. I need to get back in the mix of what's going on at school, in school. And before it was like, you know what I'm saying? Before it was like, my wife got it, you at school, they with your mother, whatever you went through, she could take care of. But if I don't interject myself in that, I could potentially miss signs. I could potentially miss issues that she might think that, he won't care nothing about, but in no actuality, it's lessons in there and I can use that to teach. All those things can happen and transpire. If I'm not there, I'm going to miss those. And to your point about them changing is like, if you don't see them and go with them through the change, how would you recognize it? You're still going to talk to them as if though they're a child and they're not going to even hear you anymore. Because my daughter told me the other day, Daddy, I'm always your baby, but I'm not a baby.
Well, listen.
I want to choke her.
One thing that's for certain, and I might get chewed out for this one. I really don't care.
Okay.
But there's no privacy in my home. I have access to my kids' phones. And when I say pass the phone here, I'm going through your messages.
Damn right.
Every single message.
You get no pushback here, my boy. As a matter of fact, we can use that but are you the only one? Are we the only ones that don't have privacy in their home with their children? Because I don't have no privacy in my house. And you would say your children are young. Yeah, but guess what? That's the same vibes. You dig what I'm saying? Like, there is no locked doors. When I want to come into a room, I'm going to walk into it. When I want your device, I'm taking it. Absolutely. Whatever you're watching, I'm monitoring.
Yep.
Absolutely. Just recently, I walked through the living room and Imani's watching YouTube, and one of the shows she was watching just happened to reference something to do with making out and all other stuff. I was like, yep, last time you're watching that one.
Yep.
Let me get that remote control.
Like that.
Delete.
Just like that.
Block.
I canceled my Disney subscription. There's no Disney here.
No. Yeah, no, I'm done with Disney too.
Any of that.
Yeah. The subliminals is done. We're done with those.
We're done with all of that.
Yes, indeed.
The YouTube channels, I monitor them. Whatever channels they're subscribed to, I monitor to see what it is that they're saying on those.
Oh yeah, I'm watching every episode.
One episode that I see that's out of pocket, the whole channel gets eliminated.
Facts.
And then it gets put on a blacklist.
Yeah. And one thing I love about YouTube is like when you sign into their channels and their pages, you have the block list, and you can also tell who's been trying to open it, who's trying to turn it off. So shout out to YouTube, especially YouTube Kids, for those parameters for us parents, man. So
speaking of YouTube Kids, make sure that you guys that have young kids don't just watch the first 2 minutes in the YouTube Kid video. Make sure you go halfway through it, because there's some crazy stuff that appears on those YouTube Kid channels.
Yes, indeed.
Crazy stuff.
I've been privy
by experience.
Yes, I've been privy to it, and definitely had to been like, well, we're in the 86. These people.
What the hell are we doing here?
Right. Subliminal messages out the wahoo, like, and this is why it's important. Like, as you said, back to the point of being in their lives, being in their shit, for lack of better words.
Yep.
Because at the end of the day, we're protecting not just who they are right now, but their future.
Yep.
Because all those things going into their gates, that's literally what's feeding.
They're sponges.
Complete sponges. And it's not about what you said, it's about what influences them the most. And that's what I've been trying to do, especially over the last 2 years, is be more about influence to my children, as per like, all right, am I making an impact in you enough for that you think to have integrity when I'm not around? You know what I'm saying? Like, that's what I've been trying to instill in my children, is like, do the right thing when I'm not around. That's my biggest thing with my daughter and my son is now, is like, when I'm not around, you still should be holding the standard. And they can't hold the standard if they're walking around living in fear.
Yeah.
And this is why, like, I'm not about to embarrass my children. And shout out to my crossing guard lady at my son's school. About a few months ago, my son got his first bad report coming home from school. He had a bad day. And because he had a bad day, he came outside and he was just being irritable to other kids. And when I came to school, I seen him push one of the kids. So I told him, like, no, that's not what we're doing. And he was frustrated, and I was holding him in my arm, and I was kind of scolding him as I was walking. The crossing guard lady, she pulled me to the side and was like, do that in your car. They shouldn't see us doing that.
Mm.
And when she said it stopped me in my tracks and said, you know what, you're right. Because we already looked at a certain way. We already perceived a certain kind of way. So to feed into that narrative or to give that thought process, even any gasoline or life, would be detrimental to not only me, but to my son's upbringing. So I'm like, you know what? Thank you so much for that. I even went back to her the next day and said, you know what? I thought about what you said even more when I got in the car, and I really appreciate what you said. Because that's what we need to do as a community. It's not about embarrassing your children, making a scene, or having someone think that you have authority. Because I think that's what it really is too. Most parents are trying to prove they have authority.
Yeah.
The proof was given when you laid down and made that child.
Yeah.
If you have the need for to seek approval of authority, you need to come holler at me. You need healing.
Yeah.
Because that should not be what's happening to your child. You getting your validation of authority through disciplining them in public. Yeah. That's not it.
It has to come down to being able to speak to your child. Speak. Look, I'll give you an example. This weekend, we were at the pool. And we're just there chilling, us the neighbors. We're having a good time in the pool. A group of kids come, a group of grown kids come. It seems like they were celebrating a birthday. And they see that we have young kids, little kids. We're talking about little kids.
Right.
My neighbor's kids are 10 and little kids.
Young babies, yeah.
Right? And they see that we're all there, that there's more kids there. And instead of them coming over and saying, hey, guys, because I find nothing wrong with you smoking. That's your life. You do what you got to do. Right. And I'm not against it either. But if there's kids in the area, you need to have respect. And that comes from the home. Right. Because if you're not taught to respect others' space, no matter where you go.
Yeah, you won't do it.
You won't do it.
Right.
So we're there. They come, they roll up a blunt, light it up, start smoking. Us with the kids in the middle. No. I'm thinking to myself, if I go say something to one of these kids, not even in a disrespectful manner, it will turn disrespectful. Because if they don't have any respect,
then they're not going to see your point.
They're not going to see the point.
No.
So you know what we did? Got it. And we left.
Yeah.
So that it doesn't turn into something else.
Right.
And like I said, I have nothing against it. I have nothing against smoking. Nothing against it.
But
I don't do it. I don't do it around the kids.
My thing is respect the children.
Respect the children. That's lost. That's been lost.
Yes.
The respect for children, the respect for the elders, that's been lost. That's been lost.
You want to piss me off? Hear me good. If you want to ever piss RJ, the imperfect gentleman, off, take notes. All you have to do is get in front of me and violate an older person.
It's a wrap.
Or a child. That's all you got to do. If you ever want to turn me up, get me out of my regular skin, jump into that ignorant Negro skin that I can put on every so often, yeah, do that. And I can promise you I'm going to lose it. I can just promise you that. Because the fact that you would even potentially play with someone of an older magnitude, it's disturbing.
Yep.
Then a child, where you don't even respect that you're doing something that may harm their tomorrow, my spirit will have to deal with God behind what I do to you.
Yep.
But I'll repent and ask for his mercy and grace.
I remember a time where no matter what elder spoke to you and you would bow your head down and just let them say whatever they needed to say. Yes, ma'am, no, ma'am, walk away. That doesn't exist anymore. You got kids out here smacking elder people just to rob them.
Right. Now that's disgusting.
That is disgusting.
Flat out disgusting.
That is disgusting.
And not any justification, but as you were saying it, I began to think too, a lot of that respect was lost because some of the people who was demanding the respect didn't earn it.
Hmm?
And I'm about to say something that's probably going to give me a lot of pushback in my own circle, but I can give a fuck less. It's my podcast. When it comes down to people, adults, demanding respect from children that they haven't earned, you'll never be respected.
Nah, it's fear. They'll fear you.
And then when that fear turns,
it's a wrap.
It's anger.
It's a wrap.
So I'm gonna be real and transparent. So, an uncle of mine, when I was about 14 years old, hit me like a grown man. I mean, hit me. Punched me in my right shoulder so hard that I banged into the iron heaters. You know the heaters in New York that come out of like that stand out? I banged into that and the punch was so hard I didn't realize I hit that until later. 14 years old, right? Little frail boy, body boy, grown man who just came up from prison hitting me like that, right? Because I quote unquote was disrespectful to my mother. Quote unquote. But I ate it. You know what I mean? Because I was wrong. Now, I never understood why my uncle was in jail majority of my life, right? Never understood it. Until I got older. My uncle was in jail because he decided he wanted to mess with little girls. And you had the audacity to put your hands on me. So respect level was out the window because you're not even a fragment of the man that I've turned into be. And you had your audacity to put your hands on me. Meaning, you can't have respect that you didn't even earn. So how dare you put your hands on me? And to this day, he has to stay behind bars because if he comes home, he has to deal with me. I don't know what that means yet. I'm still talking to God about that. When I say deal with me, he has to, whether it be physical or verbal. He's going to have to deal with me. Because at the end of the day, you didn't earn that. You didn't earn my respect. You tried to take it.
Yeah.
And for anyone else out there, my slogan is this. You can't check someone that you ain't never checked on. I don't know where y'all adults get this audacity from. I think you just run down on a child and check them if you ain't never checked in on them.
Yeah.
Who the fuck do you think you are?
I feel your pain all the way, bro. But just remember that our God says, if I've forgiven, why not forgive?
And I swear, there are probably two things in my lifetime, Jose, and this is obviously one of them because you can see my demeanor. There are two things I'm still asking God to deal with. And I promise you, every time I put my knees to the ground and before I go to sleep, and every time I lay in that bed and say, God, thank you in the morning, I'm praying, asking him to take this off my plate.
Trust me, he will. And it'll make you, the day that you see yourself in front of that uncle of yours, that's when he'll appear. You'll see. You'll see. He'll remove that from you. Mm-hmm. Because at the end of the day, you got a great heart. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. And you have become the man that he can never become, no matter what time, no matter what he does after he comes out of jail.
Absolutely. And it's it's no consolation because I'm not taking it as, oh, I'm a better man than you. It's just the fact of the matter is like, that hit was traumatizing, bro. Do you know, when I think back to all the rest of the fights that I've been into,
it wasn't the hit that was traumatizing. It's the you understanding who he was when he did that to you. That was traumatizing for the rest of your life, right? Because you ate the hit.
Nah, hell no, Jose. That's what I'm trying to tell you. Hell nah. So put like this.
He said, oh, nah, hell no.
Nah, hell no. Let me tell you, because that...
Bro, you said you ate it, so I'm going by that. Now, now let's hear the rest of it then.
So I ate, let me put like this. If I ate it, I didn't digest it well. Okay. If I ate on it, it didn't go down well, okay? It didn't sit well. If that's the case. Because let me tell you, like, I can still hear the bell ringing, bro. The bell. And it wasn't the fact that it was like the traumatizing fact. You're right. It wasn't even just the violence part of it. Was like, it was like, the fact that
you did this,
and you was my uncle. You're supposed to protect me.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like, I look at you as somebody, as a protector, and you're in here harming me to the point where I'm like, I don't know if I'm gonna make it out of here. And then I got over that part. You know what I'm saying? Like, I got over that years later, because it was like, all right. Because even though through my fights, I'm like, well, guess what? If you hit me as hard as my uncle hit me, you're going to have a hard time with me. So for that point, okay, it worked out in a good way. But then I think to myself, like, you wasn't supposed to do that.
Yeah.
You don't have the credibility to do that.
Yeah.
And for that, the earning the respect part, like, my mother, anybody else, my other uncle run down on me because y'all checked in on me. You see what I'm saying? You've seen about me.
Yeah.
You come home from a 14-year spin in jail. I don't even know you in my house. You pop up out of the corner. I mean, my mother arguing. You take me upstairs and knock me out?
Yeah. Yeah.
You see what I'm saying?
I know exactly what you mean.
So for that, I'm like,
no matter how big, no matter how much you deserved it because of the disrespect that you had towards your mother, he wasn't the person to have. If it would have been your mother who would have 2-3-pieced you, you would have been like,
I paid it. I deserved it.
I deserved it. But coming from him, at that moment, you saw it as, okay, I deserve it. But then you're like, hold up.
Yeah. Nah,
you ain't supposed to be doing that because look at where you stand.
Because nigga, like, I'm supposed to
look
do
at
you
your
filthy.
shoes.
You understand me? I'm supposed to do you filthy just based on the principle of what you've done.
Yeah.
You see what I'm saying? Because nigga, I stand 10 toes down on that. We're not even going to talk about what happens if I was even thought you was violating one of mine.
Hey.
Go see Jesus, bro.
Yeah.
Just get ready to go see him. Jesus is going to be like, well, I didn't have this nigga scheduled to come up here. He must have messed around and messed up. Yeah, my bad, you too. But, you know what I'm saying? Like, and now that I'm who I am now and I'm where I am now, this is why I'm so adamant about treating the children as children, disciplining them as children. Don't discipline them as if though they're adults. You understand what I'm saying? Like, the chastisement you would give an adult is not the same thing you should do for a child. And it's also, like I said, back to the beginning of this, it's not for public consumption.
Yeah.
It's not. I don't care on what level. I don't care if you're talking, yelling, screaming, or even hitting. None of it is for public consumption.
Only pinches allowed.
Shout out to mommy. Hey, yo, you triggered all your cousins. I know they all sitting there rubbing the back of their arm like, this Negro Jose, man, this hurts. But yo, man, like that's what this week was all about for me, bro. I really had to get that off my chest, and I actually feel better. Because like that disturbed me. 2 weeks ago, seeing that lady beat that child like that in Publix truly disturbed me. And it wasn't even the fact that it was the way she beat him. It was after which the way she put her chest up and looked around as if though like she was ready for the crowd to start cheering. You know what I'm saying? Like she was expecting. Yeah, she was like, yeah, I did that. And I'm like, I want to knock you out. Like, I literally want to knock you out right now just by watching you just celebrate this. And for that, I hurt for two people. I hurt for that baby, and I hurt for her because she's still got to deal with that. Whatever she's dealing with, that's causing her to even want to be that rageful, be that angry, and to act that way towards a child that she created. There's something inside that she has to deal with. So yes, as much as it angered me, I still had a side of, I hurt for you.
Yeah. And like that, we're at an hour.
Look at that, right on the head, man.
Right
so
on the head.
We're about to get up out of here. We're not going to delay this. We had a good discussion tonight. And I feel like I've lifted a weight off my chest right now, so I'm willing to get the heck up out of here happily right now, man. So before we get up out of here, as usual, Jose, what you got for the people, man?
Yo, love everybody around you. Love your kids. Show them that you love them. Don't think that they know that you love them. Show them that you love them. They are our future. If we can't provide that love for them and that structure for them, then who will? Come on, guys. We got to do better for our little ones. We got to do better.
That's a fact, man. We have to. And to the point of, to the parents, man, when I say heal, I don't mean that it's a thing that you can just do one night and it's over with. It's a consistent process. If you're an adult, you have trauma. I don't care who you are. You have present trauma. You have underlying trauma. You have traumas in which you don't even know are causing you to do certain things. You need to help. You need to heal. If you find yourself angry and you can't control your anger and your rage, when you're in a space of discipline, do yourself and your child a favor and just walk away for a while. If you have a partner, tagging with them. You know what, sweetheart, honey, I'm going to do something I'm going to regret. Let me have my time to myself. Get me away from these children. My wife will tell you, I'll tell her in a heartbeat, babe, get your children. And when I say get your children, it's implied that I'm upset.
Yep.
I need my time. And that's a way in which I'm diffusing what could potentially happen because I'm operating out of anger. You don't have to operate in the anger. Step away from it, come back to where you are, and then operate and then discipline out of space of logic and understanding. It's not about you being angry, but it's about the lesson that you're trying to get across to your child.
And the goal is to get to the point where that doesn't happen, right? Where you can discipline without being angry, where you can maintain your composure and breathe and express yourself and discipline at the moment, because when you let it prolong too much, then there's a feeling of there's a feeling of being able to get away with it. So let's work on ourselves so that we're not at that point of acting out of anger.
Yes.
Out of deep anger.
Excuse me. And to this point, work on yourself. And the way you do that is understanding you ain't perfect. You're going to mess up. But when you do mess up, use it as a learning opportunity. Use it as an opportunity to go back, reflect on that, and ask yourself, how can I be better next time? Because the truth of the matter is, life is a test. And the more you go through it and you don't pass the test, you got to go through it again. So don't keep putting yourself through the trauma, and don't put your children through the trauma. Learn from your mistakes. Be better. Heal from yesterday. Work on it today so that tomorrow your children and you can be in a space of gratitude, happiness, and peace. So with that being said, I love each and every one of y'all out there. Continue, as always, to like, comment, and subscribe to this podcast. We appreciate you as always. And get down there in the comments, man. We missed you guys down there last week, but get back down in the comments and let us know what you thought about the content, as well as if anything you want us to talk about or address on the platform. Let us know, and we would definitely do our due diligence to address it. So with that being said, you got anything else for the folk, man? As always, fellas, to the world, you're just a dad. That's it. There's no value to the world for you. But to your family, you are the world. Let that sink in for a second. But until the next time we see you guys in these podcast streets, be good to yourself and the ones around you. And if you can't be good to the ones around you, that's all right. Just get those people from around you. Yo, this is your boy RJD, the Imperfect Gentleman, and
JP, the Imperfect Husband.
And this has been another dope episode of the Imperfect Fathers Podcast. Y'all be blessed, because we will. Peace, y'all.
Peace.